Well, just finished watching the reunion for the Ultimatum. Uh, I'm not sure how I feel after this. There was one surprise that I definitely did not see coming, but then outside of that, I really expected there to be a lot more. I don't even know, not fireworks isn't even right, a lot more change within the couples than what we ended up with. So we'll just rip through all our different couples and thruples and whatever else we have here on this show, starting with Madeline and Colby. I joked in the finale about them doing a live divorce on the reunion, but I guess instead they're revealing that Madeline is 7 months pregnant. Was not expecting that, but I think time-wise, this is really almost a year after. Well, now is like a year after they filmed the show, and I believe they finished filming in May of last year and had the reunion in February of this year. So that's kind of the timeline for everything. I guess that's enough time for Madeline and Colby to have be having a baby. The whole time that they were talking about the pregnancy and the baby, I honestly was just sitting there feeling terrible for April. She wasn't someone that I was really rooting for on the show, but when you're in that moment and everybody's talking about how, having a baby changes your life and it's the best thing that's ever happened to Nick and Vanessa and everything else that was being said. And meanwhile, we have April sitting there who wants that so badly for herself, and it's been something that she's struggled with being able to do. And we even saw those struggles on the show. It just felt like, honestly, couldn't really pay attention to the conversation because I was just feeling terrible for her. Back to Madeline and Colby. Good to see that Colby, still to this day, is trying to justify his actions on the show and trying to let everybody know that I don't even know. What was this guy thinking? He cheated. He cheated because they didn't sign up for Colby to go hook up with chicks at bars. They signed up for Colby to be matched up with another person in a similar situation to him and to see what would happen. That is the big difference here. And somehow these two went from cheating on the show to, married and having a kid at the reunion. Next up, let's jump over to Lauren and Nate. We didn't really get much of these two on the season because Nate proposed after 1 week on the show, and they went off happily ever after. Lauren did not look impressed with the whole kids conversation, and I gotta admit, I got a smile on my face when they showed Nate whispering to Madeline that he was going to choose her, and then went on with the entire recap of the proposal, and it was so awkward. That whole scene was just incredibly awkward. Nate just looked like an absolute clown. He tells Madeline, "I'm going to choose you," and then a minute later stands up and proposes to Lauren. That man, so full of crap. He got rejected. He got rejected by both Shanique and April, and then he panicked and proposed to Lauren after he got jealous over Lauren having connected with Colby. Just that whole thing is so awkward to relive, and I think that they should let us watch that all again, where Lauren and Nate have to sit down with their friends and family and watch that entire scene unfold once again. I was beginning to think that Lauren was possibly mute because she didn't say anything. This was just Nate, just wah 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 wah. Nate. He was just rambling on, trying to defend himself, defend his actions, and Lauren was just sitting there in silence. You know, really, she just spoke up at the end and just kind of said that I guess they decided that they're going to try to have one kid. Yeah, I didn't really like this couple, and yeah, still got that same impression at the reunion. Next up, we'll do a quick hit on Alexis and Hunter. Looks like they are still engaged and planning a wedding. The only real thing I want to point out here is $25,000 to plan a wedding. What? Like, that's not even to pay for the wedding. That's $25,000 just to hire somebody to plan the wedding? Like, I don't even think my wife and I spent $2,500 on our entire wedding. That includes wedding dress, cake, everything. Absolutely blows my mind. Like, people, I know your wedding is a very important day of your life, but do not spend your life savings or get a lifetime worth of debt just to have a wedding. There's so many cheaper and still perfect ways that you can get married. All right, enough with Alexis and Hunter. Let's move on to whatever this mess is of Ray and Jake and April and Zay. We're just going to go through it all at once. April thought that she was going to force Jake into proposing by being on the show. That is a very, very important thing to remember when I tell you this next little fact that I found out after watching this show. So Jake and April had a cruise planned where he was going to propose before coming on the show. So Jake was all set to propose before coming on the Ultimatum. I mean, it can't, like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, no wonder he was feeling like he'd been drugged on the show and he didn't know what was going on. Apparently, he didn't even find out the premise of what the show was until the entire cast got together for the first time. It's absolutely ridiculous. He fully intended on proposing to and marrying April before coming on the show. So how about that for an ultimatum? He'd made his decision before coming on the show, and the show unmade his decision. Yeah, very, very hilarious. But moving on, apparently April is now in a serious relationship. She didn't shed too many details on that, but good for her, just because I really think that April and Jake just were not good together. Ray and Jake, they apparently did not go on that trip together, and also sounded like they are not together. Ray and Zay apparently tried to fix things, which was very, very shocking to me, because that breakup that we saw on the show felt very final to me. I did not think that Ray would be going back to Zay, and only good news out of that is they were not able to fix things. That moment, Zay gets asked, what happened on the night you went MIA? And still, he just can't be straight up and honest about this whole situation. You know, blaming Ray, blaming Ray's actions, blaming her for not opening up, and then tossing it in at the end, my phone died, I passed out on my friend's couch. Oh yeah, that's definitely the truth, Zay. We're definitely believing you, not a chance. Ray said that since she ended things with Zay, she's only been with one other person, and that was not Jake. She revealed that she is bisexual, and only, that's something that she's kind of been struggling with, and trying to learn more about, just what she wants exactly in her life. Zay really went out of his way to reconfirm to all of us how little respect he had for Ray, both on the show, after the show, in their relationship. Just absolutely mind-blowing to me, like how long they were together, with the way that he talks about her, and everything that happened. The entire situation there that led to him having his blackout drunk night, where apparently his phone accidentally died and he accidentally fell asleep on somebody's couch, which is total BS, by the way. How, she didn't communicate right. And, it wasn't okay for her not to have an answer. But when we go back to that whole scene, she asked him to stay, and he still left. Very, very, very shocking to me that they even tried to get things back together. And loved that we kind of ended with them, with Ray putting Zay in his place over not telling her about sleeping with Shanique, and then constantly accusing her of sleeping with Jake, which was something that didn't happen. I think that was a great way to end it, with Ray really standing up to Zay, who was an absolute bully to her in their relationship. And, just to me, looks like a toxic person to have a relationship with. So all the best to Ray, not so much for Zay. He's the big tough guy with no backbone when it actually comes to answer for the things he's done. And we saw that by him walking away, and really his whole behavior on the show. Walked away when things didn't go his way on the show, walked away when things didn't go his way on the reunion. Our last couple for the season, Shanique and Randall. Shanique said that she was jealous of Randall and Madeline, and that's kind of what led to her getting a little more physical with Zay. Shanique says that getting physical with Zay solidified that he was the wrong person for her. That could be code for he just wasn't that good in bed. Okay, maybe that was a little extra shot there at Zay, but what's he gonna do? Get angry and stand up and walk out on us? Yeah, not too worried about that guy. Sounds like they are no longer engaged. They broke up for 6 months, but are back together again now. Yeah, the whole ending with them on the show felt a little weird. Like, they kind of felt like they were going to break up, and they were almost racing towards who was going to do that breakup, and then all of a sudden they're engaged. Well, they got engaged, and quickly after they were no longer engaged and broken up. So who knows what's in store for them. Honestly, overall, I feel like a lot of these couples are still in flux on where they stand, what they're doing, how things are going to end up for them. And we almost need to have a reunion again in another year's time just to see where everybody's at. Overall, I enjoyed the show a lot more than I expected. Some of the stuff with how the format was set up, I didn't like as much. Everybody still had their phones, so we didn't get to see just how much they were still communicating with their original partner. Like at one point during the show, Shanique and Randall just met up, and I was like, what? Like, isn't the whole point that they're not supposed to be able to do that? So if we did see this show again, would like to have a little more separation for the two couples. Don't have everybody just being around each other. Remove that whole jealousy, he said, she said factor out of the show. It might make for some dramatic moments like what we saw with the Zay and Colby situation. and even Shanique basically getting jealous from what she heard from Madeline. Totally remove that, and separate everybody. Like, don't keep them together. Have everybody in their own little bubble, own little world, and see what really develops from there. I would have liked everyone to have got a chance to have one final date with their original trial marriage partner at the end, just to kind of re-spark whatever had been there, and to maybe see how the other person was leaning before it came to the final decision. All right, let's end that there. This has been long enough. Thank you everybody so much for watching along with me this season. If they ever bring this back again, I will be back. But until then, thank you so much, and we shall see you later.